777, aka Diz, and this is the Force always.
Welcome, this is the Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews again. Let's get on with it. So, Star Wars news this time around. Disney is possibly seeking trouble with the release of The Last Jedi. It's requested that it should be played on the main screen in every cinema complex, in America that is, for at least 4 weeks. And I'm seeing that this could be trouble for small cinemas, but that's what the reports are saying right now. To more news, Legends of Luke Skywalker, the book, the novel, has been released with sort of mixed reactions. It's more about possibilities, stories told by, smugglers and things like that. And it has some great ideas, but they're not all cement in stories. So, but you can get this as an audio book right now, and obviously a print paper book. To more news, TV spot 3 for The Last Jedi was about a week or so ago now, but it's having some great reactions, almost like the actual trailer. It got better reaction, I think, than the international trailer, which only had C-3PO in it. It was a fantastic introduction to the Millennium Falcon, and also Luke Skywalker entering the Millennium Falcon. That was fantastic. It was a great look, but it was getting received well. But Disney, it's time to put those brakes on now. Yes, and some of these stories, news stories that is, I'd like to just thank one of my sources of the forces, Sean. Thank you very much, buddy. Keep rocking. Anyway, that's the news for this time around. Let's get into the views. The views is about Rebels animation. At the moment, we're in season 4, Rebels animation. It's the events leading up to Rogue One, and in the last couple of weeks, we've been sort of introduced to a thing called Loathed Wolves, which are on Lothal, a planet called Lothal. And the Loathed Wolves, what I'm saying in my views, which is not a prediction, it's all about story ideas. There seemed to be a spiritual sort of guide for Ezra and the crew of the Rebels that we're in touch with at the moment. And I just would like to see them eventuate to something bigger than just being a guide. Possibly sort of become bigger and greater in a spiritual sense before the end of the season. That's what I'd like to see. That I just think just to throw them in there is just a bit random. So I'd like to see something more spiritually uplifting and sort of eventuate to something. They maybe survive. That's what I'd like to see them do. These Loathed Wolves, which are really interesting Star Wars characters, but they're working. Also, the introduction of a character named Rook, voiced by Warwick Davis. He announced this at Star Wars Celebration 2017 in Orlando, that he was going to be Rook, or Roch, as Thrawn says. So Rook is pretty much the assistant for Thrawn. And for Rook and Thrawn being so, their stories told so late in the Rebels animation series and coming close to Rogue One, they really, at this stage in my mind, need to survive. I think there's more story that you can give. You can have these people survive, or these characters, or these aliens survive, whatever you want to call them. But Rook, let's call it Rook, and Thrawn need to survive. In fact, I would like to see them reappear in the episodic movies that we're seeing now, The Last Jedi and Episode 9, whatever that's called. I'd like to see them come through, especially Rook. Rook is a great looking character and idea. He uses his sense of smell as identification. He's got this very gorilla-like motion in his walking or running. I don't know, I just like the character a lot. Thrawn, besides his blue face, I like his character. He's a suspenseful type guy, very evil, sinister, very calm and collected. I like that. But I'd like to see him reappear in the episodic films, but either in 8 or possibly 9, or just have them survive or something. And so that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Speaking of the Rebels, Rebels Season 4 is on at the moment. We had 2 episodes in the last week, Kindred and Crawler Commanders. The first episode was Kindred, and the second one was Crawler Commanders. Kindred, it had just a great, again, spiritual sort of feel or tone to the whole episode. I give it 8 out of 10. It's great. It reminded me, sort of reminiscent of like a movie that I sort of reflect on a lot, which is Contact. It was great. It was many years ago. That was in the 90s. Look for it. It's a very nice type of film. I don't know what genre you'd actually call it, sci-fi or adventure or blockbuster, I don't know, but it reminded me in parts like Contact, and so I give Kindred the episode 8 out of 10. Rebels this season so far is really hitting the mark, especially for hardcore Star Wars fans and especially for the older generation. I'm feeling a little bit for the kids because the kids may think these episodes are too dark, but I don't know, that's their sort of thing they want to do with Rebels. And the next episode was Crawler Commanders. This had a continuous good beat to the whole episode. It had bits of, for me, Phantom Menace. It had bits of The Force Awakens. It had a little bits of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. It just really covered a lot of tones in this one, yet it was just generally very gritty. If this episode was described as, it was gritty, and this definitely was a great episode. It was not really mind-blowing and revelations, but it was just a great sort of story. I just thought it was, a solid, fun, gritty story. And I give that one 9 out of 10. So the Rebels Season 4 is really hitting the mark. It's going fantastic. Check that out either on Disney XD or wherever you can obtain it. Anyway, so that's the reviews for this time around. Let's get into the interviews. Yes, it's a 2Q, 2 questions. I asked myself for you guys out there. Let's get on with the questions. First question is, when should the fate of Ahsoka be revealed? That's in the Rebels animation. Again, we're highlighting Rebels at the moment before the big Last Jedi onslaught. But when should the fate of Ahsoka be revealed? Ahsoka was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. And there was a big duel between Darth Vader when he turned to the dark side and Ahsoka, and this sort of thing went down and we don't know what happened. As annoying as this would be, I'd like it to be revealed in the last episode. I think that's the most fitting point. I'm wishing they can continue that character, but I have to wait and see. But it definitely should be revealed to the last episode. When should the fate of Ahsoka be revealed? The last episode. The last episode, can you believe this, is going to be airing early next year, 2018. We won't get it till then. So there could be something in store for us, maybe in The Last Jedi with Ahsoka. I don't know. We have to wait and see. Anyway, to the next question. Should Caleb Doom, or aka Kanan, be killed in the Rebels animation? Kanan is the sort of mentoring type Jedi. He's the older sort of guy with a beard. He's blinded at the moment in the episodes. But we got his name in the last week, Caleb Doom, aka known as Kanan. Should he be killed or sort of gotten rid of somehow? It's going to be tough seeing the Rebels crew be gone, but I think, especially that we've seen, let's call him Kanan, kiss Hera in the last episode, it's sort of now set in motion to sort of have an emotional attachment to this and sadness. So I think he's going to be killed. By who, when, how, I don't know, but I think unfortunately you need to get rid of this character. He's a fan favourite, I know that, especially at Star Wars Celebration. He was, a cosplay sensation. I saw a number of Kanans, and he is liked by the Rebels and Star Wars community that I got to know. And I think he's a good character, but I think we need to move on from Kanan, and he needs to be killed off somehow. The way he should be killed off, it's got to be poetic. It's got to be, I think, almost put. I put it down to the second last episode or the third last episode, because if they're gonna have Ahsoka killed off, or be brought back to life, or survived, or whatever, I think that needs to be the last episode. It needs to be concentrated on Ahsoka. So the second last episode or the third last episode for Kanan, I think he needs to be gone. Anyway, that's my interviews for this time around. Anyway, The Force Always, this channel, is going to be broadcasting some interesting episodes in the week leading up to The Last Jedi. So I've called it the last week before The Last Jedi countdown. I'm going to be bringing you some interesting areas of the world. Well, not the whole world, but parts of main areas that I think are going to be interesting for Star Wars people. And the week leading up before The Last Jedi. So watch out for those episodes. I'm advertising it heavily at the moment through a little fun video I've got. But it's going to be called The Last Week Before The Last Jedi Countdown. There's going to be a number of episodes in that week, so check that out. Anyway, so to this channel, The Force Always, only on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, repeat the view, whatever you like to do. But it's here for you. I bring the Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews weekly. Anyway, until next time, as I say, keep rockin'.